Hello and a warm welcome to the TT 2023 preview episode of the podcast. Steve, the fortnight is nearly upon us, and like last year we're going to be going daily. We'll talk about that shortly, but it don't feel like a year ago that we were previewing the TT 2022, does it?
Hey, I can't wait. I really can't. Loads of stories for this year. It's going to be all action, and I think the pace is going to be hotter.
As hot as what?
Jalapenos.
I was going to say as hot as your tan. Right, so over the next 2 weeks, we're going to be bringing you the TT podcast daily. It's going to start on Monday the 29th, so make sure you're following us wherever you listen to your podcasts. We're going to be on the island, we're going to be in the paddock, we're going to be talking to everyone in the know to find out what is going on each and every day down at the TT. And don't forget, TT23, you can get even closer to all the action, whether you're on the island or you're watching from home. Download TT Plus and make sure you've got your TT Plus Live Pass to see all the action live. So we're joined in the studio by, where do we start with this introduction? Fastest woman around the TT course ever. Superbike extraordinaire. Stunt woman. What else? Mechanic. Anything else?
Good sleeper.
Yeah, obviously not as good a sleeper as Steve. TV pundit, radio pundit, last year's TT and this year's. It's Jenny Tinmouth. Jenny, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Great to be here.
And then joining us via live satellite link up is the legend that is 44 Teeth journalist Mike Booth. Boothy, you all right?
How are you doing, guys? Good to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah. Well, I say good to be here. I'm sat in my bedroom, so it's great to be here.
Why are you not in the studio?
I didn't get invited. I don't think there's enough chairs there for me, is there?
You look like you sat in a cloud, like you've been naughty and you sat in a cloud.
Yeah. That's what I feel like I'm in most of the time. Just bouncing from one cloud to the next.
I don't feel sorry for you because you just told us you're going to Crete on holiday tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I need a nice tan for the TT, don't I?
I know, everyone's gearing up for the TT, reading the stats, checking the stories, and Booth is off on holiday. Unbelievable.
Easy life.
I know. Right, got loads to get through, so we'll crack on straight away with it. I'm going to split this into like 3 or 4 rounds. I can't remember exactly how many I decided on. But we're going to, rather than go through all the classes, the riders, and everything else, what we'll do is we'll just pick up a few stories and a few different things that we want to discuss, and we'll go around the table and we'll speak to Boothie and we'll get everyone's input on it. So Jenny, let's start with you. TT 2023. What are you picturing when we arrive on the island in 2023?
First off, I'm going to say great weather. I'm hoping for great weather. But it's going to be great racing, isn't it? It's always great racing at the Isle of Man. And looking at the boys this year so far, the preparation for the TC has been great. Lots of them are doing the British Championship, and they've all been getting sharp there. There's loads in the Superbike Championship, loads in the Superstock. They've all just been at the Northwest. You know, they're all looking mega sharp. And the race bikes this year, they're all looking so even. You know, the spec of the bikes is so similar. The power capacities, the power outputs are so similar. And they're all looking like very, very closely matched. So it's going to be pretty epic, I think.
Would we say that this is one of the most even years for the TT? And let's bring everyone in on this one in terms of machinery. You know, that BMW tends to just stick its head above the parapet just a little bit in terms of reliability and speed. But we saw at last year's TT that Hickey ran into a few fueling issues. He managed to make his way around that. But do we think that a lot of riders have selected the Honda this year? Do you think the Honda's going to be the bike to be on this year, or what? What do we think, Steve?
Yeah, well, you know, British Championship, I think the majority of the paddock, Superstock-wise, have gone down the Honda Fireblade route. But, you know, BMW have got a new bike out for 23, new aero, a lot more air getting into it, so it's more power, keeping it cooler and so on. And obviously, you know what a TT is like. It's about reliability as much as anything else because it's a long race. But I think it's a level playing field again. I mean, Superbike wise, you know, I think realistically, there's 3 people that have got a chance of standing on the top step if everybody finishes, but that they're all on different bikes.
All right, now I know I've mentioned one of their names already, but let's try and keep their names out of this podcast for as long as possible, because I think that's where the conversation always ends up. Boothie, over in your bedroom, what are you most looking forward to at the TT this year? What how are we picturing it?
Do you know what? For me, I'm actually looking forward to coming to the TT and just being able to experience it again as a spectator rather than a racer. The last 4 TTs I've been racing at, and you don't get a chance to really take it in when you're racing. You know, Jenny and Steve will know it's pretty all consuming. You know, even if you're doing just one class, you know, you're fully focused on racing, and you never really get a chance to kind of take a step back and go and watch the racing and chill out and kind of take it in that way. So I fell in love with the TT as a spectator when I went over there and watched it about 10, 15 years ago. And then I fell in love with it again when I started racing. But I almost missed that. I missed that side of it now. So you can't do both. You can't really spectate and race in the same week. So yeah, I'm excited to take that side of it in, and I think, yeah, like Jenny said, it's going to be really close this year. So I just can't wait.
So how long will the excitement of a spectator last before you go, oh, do you know what? Same question for all of us, I guess, really, or you 3 ex-racers. How long does it last until you go, oh, actually, I'd sooner be out there doing it?
Probably about half a second after the first rider heads off down Glencrutchy Road. You know, I loved racing at the TT, and I am going to miss it, but you know, the circumstances have changed, and I'm not going to be racing there this year. So I've just got to embrace it in a different way, which, to be honest, I am really looking forward to, because you know that's why thousands of people go over to the island every year to watch it, because it's the best show in the world, and there's nothing like it anywhere. So yeah, I'm going to miss racing, but at the same time, it means I've got an opportunity to enjoy it with my mates and take it in, and yeah, just be a TT fan again.
How about you, Jenny? Is that the same for you when you go out there and you're working there on the radio? You get that buzz of going, oh, I'd sooner not have this mic in my hand, and I'd sooner have my helmet on.
Yeah, definitely. Like Boothie said, like, as soon as somebody sets off and you hear them going, you're like, "Ooh, I could be doing that."
Yeah.
But then I think the good side about TT is it's so great to be a fan as well and enjoying it from the fan side. That's just as exciting as, it's not as scary as riding, you know, but it's just exciting watching it and being involved as a fan, and being in the whole environment is so great anyway. That it's not as bad as if I went and watched short circuit racing. I'd be terrible. I'd want to be out there completely. But TT's a bit different, you know. It's just great being a fan, but it's great listening to the guys going off. Definitely.
Yeah, I've never raced it. I've never experienced it, but I still get the nerves when I'm up on the start line. Are you the same, Steve? Are you or are you a little bit further beyond it now? You've settled into your TV work. You know, you enjoy.
I
people
have got
seeing your
no
face
interest
on TV.
in racing in the slightest. Excuse me. I've just come back from the Northwest 200, you know, and I do thousands of miles testing and still riding, and I'm quite confident at the Northwest I could still get in the top 10. There's no chance of me winning, no chance.
Mm-hmm. I said that with a straight face.
For two reasons. One is because I'm not sharp, and the other one is because I'm not really interested in that. That the will to win is not there. But you know, to answering the question seriously, honestly, when I stopped racing, I just flicked the switch. Luckily, and it was, you know, naturally, and I'm not competitive anymore. Or I don't feel like I don't get the hairs don't stand. Jen knows what I mean. The hairs don't stand on the back of my neck, and it just doesn't. I love to watch, because I never got a chance to watch anywhere around a TT while I was competing. So I'd just love to get out and about and watch the guys. I'm in awe of those guys that are buzzing around.
Let's end this little part here then with what are you most looking forward to at the TT?
New schedule,
Mm-hmm.
new rules, quite a lot of new tarmac, and maybe some new lap records.
Don't just give us sound bites. Give us some depth to that.
Well,
so there'll be a lot of people listening who potentially might not know, especially the new schedule. Quite a few people will realise that there's a few extra races in there. So there's an additional Super Twin race on top of everything else. Is that the only new race that's coming? So there's 2 races.
Yeah, but different
Technically
race
for-
distances because obviously they don't want the guys getting too worn out when they're competing day. Sometimes there's schedule change because
Yeah.
the weather, of course, day in, day out, and so on. So 3-lap races for the Super Twins.
Mhm.
There's some new bikes within that class, and there's some different rules, different tyre rules. Slicks now on Super Sport and Super Stock. So there's quite a lot of big changes. You know, it's going to be a busy week for the guys. Like I said, the schedule's a little bit different. They've got to kind of get used to that. Plus, also, quite a lot of new tarmac. You know, the mountain section's been closed for quite some time. Windy Corner's all been resurfaced and various patches across the mountain, as well as some other places around the TT course. And just recently, while the mountain's been closed, they've had a landslide at Waterworks. So
Okay.
there's a load of new tarmac there as well. So there's quite a bit of new tarmac, which, you know, the weather's nice, especially for a fortnight. That's what we're all flipping hoping for. We could see some getting back to the high speeds that they were in 2018.
Well, that's my next question really with this new tarmac. Is it simply so Paul Phillips can enjoy his cycling a little more over the mountain, or is there a little bit in there to try and help the riders go a little bit faster?
It's probably both those reasons, you know, because Paul Phillips needs to get up to pace. In all fairness, on his peddler. But no, seriously. Hey, listen. The mountain section, obviously, it's wide out in the open, so it's kind of it gets the worst of the weather anyway. But you know what the TT organisers are like; they'll jump on anything around the TT course to keep it nice and safe.
Yeah, love it. Perfect. Right, let's move on to the next one. The big stories from TT 2023, and we'll head to Boovie to begin with on this one.
Can I just jump in there?
Nope.
You haven't answered that last question. What
Well,
are you looking forward to the most?
Well, in my eyes, there's only one thing to do at the TT, and that's head down to the fan park.
Oh, fuck. Listen, I just knew it. I knew it.
Do you know what? On top of that, though, I was going to say, Boothie, earlier, that I think there'll be a lot of people not happy, but pleased. I don't know if that's the right word to use or not, but the fact that you're not racing this year and you are becoming a fan has allowed you a bit more free time, which is quite exciting for me, because me and you are going to be doing our daily roundup on YouTube every single day, aren't we?
Yeah, that's exciting, isn't it? Yeah, can't wait. That's it's it means they get to work with you, Chris.
I mean,
so
dream come true, right?
I just yeah.
That'll blow
Yeah.
over pretty
I
quick.
remember when I used to chase you around for your autograph, and now we're working together. Imagine that.
Who'd have thought it, eh?
Yeah,
It's just like one big fanboy group hug.
exactly. Yeah. No, it's good. It's. Do you know what? Like the TT is an awesome event, and it was great racing there. And I've done that now. I feel like I still want to be part of the event, and I think this is it means I can be there, be part of it, without putting my neck on the line. So that's quite nice.
Yeah, and I think the fans will appreciate your take on the event. It's all good and well me spouting my rubbish, but people want to hear from the people that have been there and done it. So I think they'll really enjoy those.
Well, yeah, hopefully,
Let's stick with you then.
Yeah.
Come on then. Let's see what we've got then. Big stories from the TT. What are your big stories?
Do you know what? I think it's more of a what I'm looking forward to see this year is how hard everyone's going to not start pushing. The last 5 years, I've noticed a real difference in just how hard people are pushing. Do you know, the top 4 or 5, they're giving it everything. Do you know, because we've got such great footage now from all the TT coverage, all the cameras are on the circuit. You can just see they're giving everything. You know, the slow motion stuff. It's the boys are pushing really hard, and I think because they're pushing really hard, what'll happen is they'll all start pushing each other, and you know, someone will do Hickey will do a fast lap time, and then Dean and Davey Todd and Dunlop, they'll all start trying push a bit more to get up to him. So I think what we're going to have this year is some really, really fast racing. I think lap records are going to start going, particularly because last year came off the back of 2 non-years of TT, didn't it? So last year it was kind of, you know, they needed to get back up to speed a little bit. Now they've had that, everyone's back up to speed. You know, all the fast lads are riding week in, week out in short circuit championship, BSB usually for most of them. So they're all going to be on it, and I just think this year it's going to be ridiculously fast. So I'm looking forward to seeing how hard the boys are pushing, and seeing some super stock, particularly lap records going, because obviously the boys are on slicks now. So in super stock, I think they'll be. Do you know what? In actual fact, I think the super stock bikes now they've never been far off the superbike times anyway, have they? And for me, one of the biggest difference between a super stock bike and a super bike was the fact that you can run slicks on a super bike. Now you can run slicks on a super stock bike. I think it's closing that gap up even more, isn't it? So I just think we're going to have some really, really, really fast racing and lap times the like of which we've never seen before.
Well, I suppose it all comes down to something that's out of everybody's hands, and that's the weather. If the weather's nice, then they are. But just going back to that point of the lads pushing themselves, when we had Michael on the podcast, he mentioned, and a few of us have done it as well, we just go out and ride our own race. Whatever happens, happens. But like you said, they're going to start looking at everyone else's times, and they're going to start racing each other as opposed to going out and doing what they can.
Of course they are. They've all got pit boards. It's all right saying, were you just racing at your own race and going at your own pace? Why have you got a pit board then? They're going to be pushing each other. And if one of them lads sees P2 plus 5 or something on the pit board, they're going to try their hardest to make that 5 seconds up. And they get in from a lap on practice week and they see someone else has gone a bit faster than them. They're gonna just pull the finger out that little bit more. So I just think it's going to be. We're going to get some amazing footage of the top lads giving it everything. There's that brilliant picture of Hickey at the top of Kate's cottage sideways, isn't he? I think we're going to just get more of that, and I just can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be a great TT this year.
He looks more excited than he did last year when he went and raced.
Exactly.
Steve, on from that, what about you? What's floating your boat? Big stories.
Big story-wise, obviously there's some riders injured, but I think for me, just to carry on really a little bit with what Boovy said, I think Michael Dunlop's razor sharp. I think he's got his mojo back on the big bike. I think it's probably fair to say that we all expected Michael on the Super Twin and the Super Sport to be king of the castle the last couple of years, but or the last couple of TT, should I say. But he seems to be concentrating really hard on the superbike at BSB. He's taking it seriously. In the Northwest, he was razor sharp. He had some issues, tyre issues and various things, but and probably his results didn't show how good and how fast he was. But, I think it's going to be more than just the Hickey Roadshow for this year. I really do. Yeah. I really do for the TT. But on top of that, his teammate Josh Brooks, 31.7 is done on a Norton, and once he gets his eye back in, especially working towards the back end of race week, we're going to see that man getting up into the 134s. I really do. You know, as long as the weather's good, the surface is good, and the grip levels are there, I really do. Yeah, because he's obviously a special talent. He's a class act, and if he's happy, I know he's happy with the team and the bike at the moment. If he's happy with the course and got his eye in, he's going to be fast, very fast. Yeah,
Josh's last TT was 2018, I think, if I remember rightly.
5 years.
Yeah, came back as a fan. Jenny, what do you think? What stories are going down?
Yeah, I was going to say the Josh, because Josh is fast, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's only been there 4 times, and he was the fastest newcomer in 2013.
Yeah.
He did his fastest lap on Norton, which is not necessarily, he's arguably on a better bike this year.
Yeah.
He's second in the British Championship at the moment. He's happy, riding great. He's going to be out there fast, and he's got no pressure. Peter's like the man everyone's watching, so it's going to be great to see him and see how he goes. Yeah,
I guess as a racer and as a competitive spirit, he's going to want to go there and put pressure on himself, and he's going to want to come back out with some results. But he's been leading the way in terms of FHO's charge at BSB. Do you think he can take any of that? And clearly he can't just go in there and go, well, if I'm beating Hickey here, I can beat him there, because it's a different playground. But he must take a bit of confidence from what he's achieving at British Superbike and Short Circuit and think, I'm riding this bike well enough to probably go a little bit better than I first anticipated at the TT.
Yeah, I mean, when you get the TT, it's good because Short Circuit gives you that picture in your mind of what you're capable of on that particular bike, and then you apply that to the TT course. So he'll be looking at a point of view of what he feels within himself he's capable on that machine, and not necessarily comparing himself to Hickey. That'll probably be in the back of his mind, surely, and because he's a competitive, they're all competitive, but you always go in there as focusing on yourself and what you can do against that course. Like say it's a time trial, it's not a mass start or anything, so he'll be focusing on himself.
Do you think it's a benefit or a hindrance having someone as good as Pete in his team at the TT?
I think definitely benefit.
Yeah?
Yeah, because you can see what somebody else can do on that same machinery. You know what you can do on that machinery. I guess they must get on really well, and they must share knowledge of the course and tricks and tips. And they're team players. They're playing for the team. So yeah, I think it's a benefit.
What about you, Chris? Yeah, I know you're always walking around the paddock hand in hand with Toddy. What do you think? Do you think he's just had his first Northwest 100 win? Do you think he can do it?
There is a bromance going there. I think it's mutual as well. Yeah, everyone knows I'm a big David Todd fan, and I think now this year is going to be the year where he's got 3 years under his belt. He went there last year, and although he had his issues in terms of the tyre problem and the engine, I think he's going to go there with the belief that he can win now. I think he's done his apprenticeship, and I think he's ready to go. So he's definitely going to make the podium on a couple of occasions. And I think he has the potential to win now. But there's so many stories beyond the top three. When we talk about the TT, it always kind of comes back to the fact that Hickey, Harrison, and then another, whether it be Todd, Dunlop, or Connor, or whoever. But there's loads of stories over in the sidecars, which we'll get onto. But the biggest story out of that is the fact that John Holden got a passenger, and we're going to see him there because we had him on the podcast. And even at that point, he was unsure whether he was going to be taking part. And you could see the desire and the fire in his eyes to want to compete, even at 60, 65, I think he said he was. So he's with Maxime Vazeur, who I can only presume is French. I think they competed at 2015 up to 2018, something like that. So relatively fast passenger as well. So hopefully John will have a good session. Mike Russell. We spoke about Mike last year, and the Tourist Trophy documentary was a bit of it was revolving around him and the fact that he took part in every single race. He's going to do the same again, and there's more races this year, which makes it even more crazy. And I spoke to him at the premiere of that film about the fatigue and the not only physical but mental fatigue, and he said it drained him, and you could see in the film that it drained him. So I think he's going to be working, closely with the physios, closely with the doctors to make sure that, because, racing one event, like Boovy said earlier, racing one event takes all your focus and all your effort physically and mentally. So to do everyone is...
I'd say more mentally than physically, it really does. And I can't believe he's doing it again after what he said last year. He was kind of, what have I let myself in for? And there's more races this year.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Packs all his stuff away and goes, right, let's do that again next year. And then Stephen Smith as well. He was going to take part in the TT 2018 or 19, I think. He went and did the Manx last year and won the senior Manx. So he's going to come to the TT for the first time. So again, you always look at the top 5 maybe and see what's happening there. And then, if Stephen gets a top 10 result or a top 15 result, that's a huge result for him. But it gets lost in what happens at the top. So there's always those other stories going on. And then we've, the big story of Lee Johnston, who isn't going to be at the TT, which is a huge loss for the TT, and we send our love and regards to his family, and we look forward to him getting better. But then we've got Nathan Harrison, potentially maybe there, maybe not. It's unclear whether he'll be there or not. And if he's not, that's a huge story in itself. The fact that he's beat himself up so many times now, and he got the chance to ride the Honda, and potentially he'll have to wait another year for it. So, yeah, loads.
Michael Sweeney, he's not
Michael Sweeney, yeah.
Yeah, another one that's injured. He's, he's a good runner and getting stronger and stronger, and it'll be interesting, actually, you mentioned Nathan Harrison, and I'm really hoping he'll get his chance to, to take with Honda to get out there. I really do. I know he's booked in the hyperbaric chamber and is working flat out trying to get fit in time, but if he isn't, will Honda bring anybody else in?
Ooh, Boothie, you might not be working. You might not be working for us after all.
I've not been sitting by the phone waiting for Hart to ring. It's not the first time HRC or Honda have had a top rider hurt themselves and not be able to race at the TT. It wasn't that long ago that John crashed at the Northwest. Where was it 2017? Guy Martin came back and rode for them. I think he only got halfway through race week and had a big crash, or it might have even been practice week. I can't remember. So it's not the first time Honda have expected to have two riders and only had one.
Before we move on to the next topic, then, just quickly, in terms of the Northwest, is it worth doing the Northwest? As a racer, you want to go and race, you want to go and win, but the potential risk that you put yourself under of missing the TT, is it worth? Like, would you miss the Northwest to make sure 100% you're going to be fit for the TT, or would you, Jenny?
I guess it depends on how confident you feel. If you feel like, I mean, like 'cause Pete had FHA left the Northwest, didn't they, because of the carbon wheel thing, and so he didn't race the big bike there. But I think he'll go to TT that confident that it won't make any difference to him, whereas other people want to go to shake down the bikes and shake down themselves and get themselves up to 200 mile an hour speed, in your head. So I think it is beneficial to go, but like we were saying, it's getting so competitive. The guys are pushing so hard that there's a big risk to it.
Yeah.
Boovie.
I think yeah. If you can do it, you've got to do it. It's like Jen said. It gets your head up to speed, your eyes up to speed. It's all right doing short circuit racing, but there's nowhere where you're kind of flat out at 200 miles an hour for any length of time. As soon as you get there, you're on the brakes on a short circuit. So I think it's definitely worth doing. I mean, where do you draw the line? Do you say, oh, we're not going to ride in practice week at the TT because we don't want to have a crash? You've got to ride the bike to get up to speed. So I think it's a necessary risk that if you can get there, then I think it's only beneficial.
Yeah, it's only in hindsight, I guess, when you actually do injure yourself that you think it's.
I've never heard anything so ridiculous in all my life. I raced a full season of World Endurance, British Championship, all the roads. It's not just the Northwest. They're going straight back now this weekend for Donington Park weekend. And Hickey and Josh, they're there, obviously, as well as Harrison and so on. And, the bottom line is it's racing and it's a full season.
True, but I guess a lot of these riders, especially someone like Nathan Harrison, he's had the TT in his head. Everything else is just preparation for it, as far as he's concerned. But and again, it's only in hindsight when something does happen that you think, oh well, if it had not gone, he'd be fit. But if it had not gone, he wouldn't be up to speed as quickly, and he might not get a decent result. So
I understand the question because obviously the TT is annual.
Yeah.
It's not like a long championship. So it is difficult, but and the Northwest 100 has always been a week or at the most 2 weeks before TT. So it's a little bit of a you're doing. I think Josh went through the speed trap unofficially at 217 this year at the Northwest 200. So you are getting your head back up to speed for the obviously for all the high speed sections of the TT course.
That's crazy. 217.
Well, that's all right. Hey, listen, I took the newcomers round, and that's not talking about me, but it
sounds like you are.
But it's more. I'm talking about modern machinery and high speeds.
Yeah.
But a completely standard S1000RR road bike through the speed trap, flat out on the rev limiter in top gear, was 198 miles per hour. Crazy, isn't it? That's a bike out the showroom on road tyres.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It just shows how fast, But it takes Michael Rutter. He's competing in my BMW F900 one make series.
Your
BSB.
series?
Yep. I'll run it. I'll look after it. And if you want to come and ride in it, Chris, you have to come to me to get an entry. No, I'm really joking.
Plater's BMW.
But no, he's racing in that. But he said it completely blew his mind when he got to the Northwest of the high speeds.
Right,
And again at the TT, that'll be even more.
That's it. Yeah, you don't want to spend the first week of practice getting yourself up to speed.
Yeah.
All right. It makes sense. I appreciate those viewpoints. Let's go wild cards now. What's your bold predictions? Let's start with me. Right, this is mine, and this might listen. I'm going to preface this by saying I love the Birchells, but I reckon the Crows might be the Birchells this year.
That's a big statement.
It's a massive, innit?
Hey, it'd be nice for somebody to be chomping at the bit and push them even harder, because you know what it's like. I think it's no different to Harrison and Toddy and Hickey. I think Hickey can afford to ride around at 98% at the moment and be more in his comfort zone, as the Birchells can with everybody else in the paddock. But as soon as people start to push, then they have to push, and that's when maybe mistakes or you bring in to the factor of reliability with the engines, over revving and so on. So it's it'd be nice to see.
Yeah, that's it. I think what we saw last year, they're ready to take on the Birchells, and how. I guess the question is, how hard have the Birchells been working, really? Boothie, do you keep an eye on the sidecars? What's your view? Do you think those boys haven't been tested yet?
I think the Birchells, when you look at them, they're taking it properly seriously. They look like a world championship team. They look like a factory in it, and I think the Crow lads look like they've kind of they kind of do it. They look like they're trying to do it in the same way. And yeah, I think if there's anyone's gonna beat the Birchells or really push them, it's going to be them boys.
Yeah. Well, I guess what's going to happen is either the Crows are going to beat them,
or they're not.
Or... I never thought of it like that.
You mentioned World Championship there. There was a way last weekend, World Championship, and they're winning again. So they're going to be hard to beat for sure.
Well, yeah. What I was going to say was, Boothie, that they're going to hit that magical 120 mile an hour lap record, which every time I see Ben, he says, "Do not mention it." But Jenny, what do you think? Sidecars, do you think that the Crows are capable of beating the Birchells if everything's fair?
Yeah, I think I'd like to see them. Like you say, I'd like to see them get up there. Like you say, I love the Birchells as well. I love them all, but it's nice to mix up a bit with a few different winners. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when we're going to see Jenny Tinmouth beating Maria Costello on a sidecar?
Oof.
Come on!
You coming with me?
See, there you go, Steve.
Driver or passenger?
I've told you I've lost the competitive spirit, but there's a man next to me that's the way that talks the talk.
I'd have a go, yeah. Shall we?
Yeah. Let's do it.
There we go.
Get
TT
in there.
2024.
You've heard it here, guys.
Me and Jenny are going to take on the world.
I think you might be a bit big for one of them sidecars, Pritch.
What are you trying to say? Unbelievable. Do you mean my height, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just a bit tall, mate. That's all.
Right, Jenny. What about you? What's your wild card? What we're predicting for this
I think
year?
with the extra races, I'm going for the number of races won in a week by one
Good, yeah,
rider.
no, I like
beaten.
that. I like that.
So currently stands at 5.
Yeah.
With Hutchie in 2010.
Yeah.
Which is the last time you raced
Yeah.
the TT. Yeah. So you think
There's more opportunity in there to beat that.
Oh, what are you saying? It's easy now.
So what we think Hickey's going to
I'm
take?
thinking Hickey. Yeah, I'm going to go
6.
I'm going Hickey for 6. I was going to go 8, but I'm not sure about the Super Twin.
Here's my thought: if Hickey does a great achievement, but is it as what's the word? As
Good.
as good as well gooder than Hutchie doing it in 2010 when he just won every single race as opposed to winning 6 out of 8. Would we see it as still a massive achievement, but is it as gooder?
Has it got to be an 8 out of 8 then?
Hey,
Wow.
listen, it's a major achievement winning 3, getting a hat trick. Major. It's a big achievement getting 1.
Winning 1 is.
So, and you need some luck, like Hutchie had in 10. He rode incredibly well. But there's a certain amount of luck involved as well, as there always is with a TT results.
Hey, listen, if it happens and he does win 6 in a week, I'm not disputing that it's not a huge achievement, by the way. So don't, those fans listening, I've never raced a bike. I get it.
Can you hear him, Jane? He's grinding reverse. Can you hear him? Yeah. Can you hear him, Booby?
Yeah. I can hear it from here.
All I'm saying is, Hutchie was limited to winning 5 and he won 5. What do you think to that?
I know what you're saying. Winning all 5 is different to winning 6 out of 8. But I've never won a TT, so to win 1, I think it's amazing. So I don't know. I don't know whose side of the fence I'm on that. But yeah, I think Jenny's right. If anyone's going to win 5, 6, or more, it's going to be one man, and it's going to be Hickey, I think. But then we say that, like Steve said, there's a lot of luck involved. Hutchie there was luck involved when he did all five. Maybe it's going to be someone else. No one was expecting Hutchie to go and win 5 TTs when he did.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, I don't think Hutchie.
And
Hutchie
to make
was.
it even better, he's going to be on the team this year. So
Yes. Yeah.
on the mic, so we can wind him up if people are getting close.
I just hope someone's got that censor button ready.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, no, he'll be just as proud of me. Will.
No doubt. Steve, how about you? What's your predictions?
You see, he mentioned Hickey there. I think Michael Dunlop. I do. He's the favourite on the Super Sport and the Super Twin, so it's more than likely him that's going to be getting a lot of or standing the chance as well as anybody else of getting a lot of race wins. I think Michael could be getting a hat trick this year.
Take him to 24.
Which will take him to 24. And he's knocking on the door. Then he really is of another record. But I think that's one of my highlights that I'd like to see. But the other one is either Toddy or Connor with the Malenko Paget's team winning a race. It really would.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Connor did the fastest ever lap for a Fireblade on the Stocker last year, 133 something. I can't remember exactly what, but the boy's on the pace, and if he keeps chipping away and getting faster, I'd just love a Manxman to win a TT.
The place would go wild, wouldn't it?
Mega.
So, just going back to Michael real quick, you say a hat trick. In what classes do you think he's going to excel in? The Super Sport and Super Twin, or Super Sport and
Well, we already
big
know
bikes?
how fast he is every year on the Super Twin and the Super Sport. But on the Stocker and on the Superbike, I think he's going to be much nearer to the front than what he usually is. I really do. So it's wide open.
It's wide open. It always is. It always is. Then Boothie, let's head to you. What's on your cards?
Do you know what? Wildcards wise, I think to take wins, it's going to be the guys on the top of the podium. It's going to be Hickey. It's going to be.
There's nothing wild about that.
Well, that's what I mean.
That's
That's my point. I don't think there's going to be any wild cards taking wins because there's too many guys at the front that are really, really fast. Even if a couple of them have bad races, one of them breaks down, it's still going to be that kind of Dunlop, Hickey, Todd crew.
When you say it's still going to be, he hasn't won a TT yet, Toddy.
Well, not yet, but he's gonna be up there, isn't he? He's gonna be one of the boys at the front. I think wildcards wise, it's more. I think we're gonna see a few lads maybe get the first podium. So Mike Brown impressed me. I wouldn't be surprised if he sticks it on a podium, or someone like Jamie Coward. I know he's had a podium on a lightweight, but he's getting fast on a big bike. So I think wildcards wise, I think that we're not going to see anyone shock us by winning the race, but I think there might be some new lads on the podium that are that haven't been there before.
Mike had a good Northwest, and to be fair to him, he had a decent TT last year in the fact that it was hobbling around on 2 broken legs, right?
Yeah, and now he's fit. He's on that bike. He's on the Burrows engineering bike. Well, bikes, I should say, will be very, very good because the Burrows bikes are always fast. So I think he might just stick it on the podium or at least top 5, which I think for someone like that would be an awesome result.
Am I hearing things right? He had a good Northwest. He ice-eyed the last race. He put himself in hospital.
I didn't see that bit. I didn't watch that. Oh, all right.
Rise and shine.
Listen, up until that point, he was having a good Northwest.
Hey, listen, that boy's a talent. I'm not putting him down at all. He's keen. I had to have a word with him at the Northwest. He was one of my newcomers this year. Too keen.
Because he was having a good Northwest.
Yeah, trying too hard. But anyway, but I said I'm an hypocrite because I used to do exactly the same.
Yeah.
But however, I think if he just calms, I said to him there, if he just calms down the slight percentage, then he'll go even faster.
Let's finish with, I guess, the big race. The senior is still the one that everybody wants to win. Anyone will take a TT win, but the senior is the one that everyone looks to, the blue ribbon event. Let's have our predictions. I don't think we're going to hear anything that we're not going to hear for the next couple of weeks. Jenny, let's start with you. Give me your predictions for the Senior TT 2023 podium.
So I've got about 6 people I want to put on there. But
All right, the podium's only...
yeah,
Go.
I'm going to go Hickey, Dunlop, Dino.
Dunlop taking the win, right? Whoa.
Dunlop's win. But AC won it. It's so hard. But you can't bet against Hickey, can you? But then Dino's won a senior. I don't know.
Hold on.
Hickey.
Oh, so Hickey's going to win it. All right.
I'm going to go Hickey, Dunlop, Dean.
Oh, nice. Boothie?
I'm just gonna mix Jenny's up a little bit, and I'm gonna go Dean, Hickey, Dunlop, because I really want Dean to win a senior TT. And I feel like I should put Davey Todd on there, but he keeps blowing engines up, doesn't he? So yeah, he's got to do 6 laps without blowing an engine up, and I don't think we can count on that. So yeah, Dean, Hickey, Dunlop.
I hope someone's writing these down so we can check after the senior. Steve?
I had pre-written something, but I'm going to change it.
Oh, okay. We'll allow it.
Dunlop to win. The senior. I'm going to go Todd second and Hickey third.
Ooh, cat amongst the pigeons.
I'm not going to tell you why.
Oh, we know something that we don't. Will you tell us off air?
Nope.
Okay. If anybody cares, I'll give you mine. I'm
joking.
going, and I'm going with my heart rather than my head.
Don't make excuses before you start. Just
Connor,
tell us.
Davey, Dean.
I like it. I'd like to see Connor. I've already said it. but
Well, that's it. I'm going with my heart. My head says the same old,
I know that.
you know. Right, let's jump on ferry and head to the island. Jenny, we'll see you out there. Thank you very much for being part of the podcast.
Thank you. It's been great.
Boothie, I'll catch up with you out there and we'll do some filming together.
Can't wait for it.
I can. I'm kidding. Steve?
Mate, I'm looking forward to it.
Not as much
Catching
as
up
me.
every night.
Oh, I can't wait. Thanks, guys. Well, that's it for the preview episode of the TT podcast. Hopefully that's whet your appetite for what's about to come. And don't forget, as I said at the top of the show, starting from Monday the 29th, we are daily in the paddock with the TT podcast. And whether you're watching the bikes over on the island or you're at home taking in all the action on TT Plus, make sure you've got your TT Live Pass to do that. Steve, it's only days away now. Are you as excited as I am?
I'm excited. I'm not as nervous as the riders, obviously, but mate, I'm really looking forward to it. I really am.
Cannot wait. Right, let's get to the island.